Hello and welcome everyone to my Fantasy Premier League channel FPL Inklink for the best live and up-to-date information and news for FPL 2021-2022 season. The game is back and the game is live. So let's get the content on, and that's why I'm here to make the latest content for you guys and give you guys all the tip, hints and news to make you guys the best managers and prep you guys up for the new season, which is hopefully a couple of game weeks away. So before we begin, let's go through the basics. So if you haven't subscribed to my channel just yet and this is your first time here, welcome. If you've been here before and you're coming back again, thank you so much for coming back and returning and watching this content. Please hit that subscribe button. If you enjoy this content and you like this video, hit that like button. And in addition, if you want to get the latest notifications for when I do release my content, then all you need to do is hit that lovely bell icon on your screen and you'll be notified as soon as I release my content. So let's get started with today's video. And today I'm going to be talking about my top 5 players that are must-owns for this season for FPL. So these are my kind of like at the moment, because the game for game week 1 is a couple of game weeks away, so this can change. So if there are any updates later before the start of game week 1, I will probably release like an updated version for this. But these are the 5 players that I'm going to go through as we speak right now, 7 weeks before the start of the season, who I believe are the top 5 players for the FPL game right now. So let's start from the defense. So at number 1 comes in Trent AlexanderArnold. Now, Trent, in terms of last season, a lot of people and experts, will say to you, including myself, actually, I'm not an expert, but he didn't perform to his true potential. And when you look at his underlying stats, you'll understand why. So he did get 160 points, so he was the second highest defender in terms of the points achieved last season, behind Robertson. He kind of played, most of the season. Yes, he missed a few games. At present, he's owned by 28.6% of managers. So it shows you a lot of experts and managers who signed up to this game, like myself, kind of really have high expectations for him this season, and they want to see the old Trent that we're used to seeing as well, because he's a phenomenal talent. People forget how old he is and how many games he's already represented Liverpool in the Premier League. So for years to come, I generally believe we've got a real good special talent to watch week in, week out. And you know what? He gives an absolute phenomenal return to managers who invest in him for such a high price. So let's go through a few more stats for why I believe he's a must-own. Last season, he got 10 returns, so 8 assists and 2 goals. Season before and the season before that, he got double-digit returns in terms of assists. And he's got 3 seasons back-to-back double-digit returns as a defender, so why not consider him? He's the best in the game as a defender, so it's definitely worth considering him. For me, he's a must-own in your squad as we speak. He's not in my current squad at the moment, but I will look to tinker and potentially get him in. So that is my ambition, to hopefully get him in by game week 1. He got 160 points, as I mentioned, with 2 goals, but the thing about Trent is he's always involved in terms of set pieces, going forward, free kicks. He's there, corners. In Liverpool attack, he would definitely dictate from the right-hand side what will take place. And he's probably pretty much with Salah most of the time, so he is going to be very, very crucial in terms of how Liverpool perform. And another good thing is we'll go through some of the fixtures that he has first up. So let's look at the Liverpool fixtures itself. They're playing 3 of the 8 promoted clubs from the Championship from last season. So they'll be playing Norwich, and they've got Brentford and Watford within the first 8 games respectively. Now, no disrespect to either of those clubs. They can all, in their rightful own manner, put up a really good performance, even win the game and hold them to a draw. So, but if you look at it from an FPL point of view of fixture difficulty, it's a dream start for them to play those games. Barring Chelsea and Manchester City and Manchester United, obviously the first 10 game weeks, the rest of the games are pretty winnable. Clean sheets and obviously attacking returns as well. Not to say they won't win those 3 difficult games. There is a likelihood that they can win all the games they play. However, with Trent himself, he'd always give you that option of an attack. And why not? Why wouldn't you want to bluster kind of like your squad in terms of like boost it in terms of its kind of like effectiveness, where you can get someone from your defence contributing week in, week out in terms of returns for you. At number 2, another defender is Luke Shaw. For me, whichever draft I've attempted to make or whichever team I've tried to kind of like get close to my first game week team, Luke Shaw is always the first name on the sheet, or one of the first players I add in, because he was absolutely instrumental last season. 33% of managers already have him in their squad, so it shows that they have similar views to what I have at the moment. In terms of Luke Shaw, his returns and his performances on the field, not only for Manchester United last season, but also for England in the Euros as we speak right now. He had a great game against Germany, on that left-hand side once Grealish came on. And, it's refreshing to see from a player who had a leg injury, who may never had walked onto a football field again, doing so well. So for me, he's part of my squad and he's a must-own player at this moment for me in FPL itself. So last season was one of his best seasons, if not in a Man United shirt, but overall in fantasy football since the game has been around. He's 5.5 mil. They've been very generous in terms of the pricing. I would have thought he would have been around 6 mil this season, and he plays for Manchester United, so I don't see a reason why he's priced at 5.5 and Azpilicueta is at 6, because he's more of a starter, a regular for United than Azpilicueta is for Chelsea. So 1 goal and 5 assists. He does take free kicks. He does take corners. He does like to get forward. And I think, United are starting to develop their own kind of style on how they play. With Sancho coming now as well, will it give him a different ambition to get forward? Who knows? But for me, Luke Shaw is definitely someone you should have, and he's a must-own for me, and he's in my draft as we speak. At number 3, we have Bruno Fernandes. Now, Bruno hasn't had a great campaign in the Euros, and he had a real kind of like decline at the end of the season last season, the last 4 or 5 game weeks. But we can't shy away from how phenomenal he's been since he joined. FPL is a game that every player that's played this game will know that every player that you own or you manage or in this game will have rough patches. So it can only get better. He's priced at 12 mil, 41.5% ownership, and he got the highest points last season, 244 points within the FPL game, which is absolutely phenomenal. 18 goals, 14 assists, pretty much nailed on to play every single game for United. Yes, he didn't start the last game of the season last season. However, that was the fact that they were playing a Europa League final 3 days later, and they'd also played 3 games within the space of 8 days. I think it was 7 days, something ridiculous, a week before that as well. So it's kind of like, pretty much needed a rest. But Bruno, you can't really look too far away from him. And with the fixtures that they've got at the start, they've got Leeds, who are quite attacking, so potentially some goals could be scored there. Then they've got Southampton, Wolves, Newcastle. So they got some really good fixtures lined up initially, and he's always part of the set pieces. He takes corners, free kicks, penalties, and United, generally do win a lot of penalties because they're in the opposition's box and they will get penalties. And with VAR now, there's no dodgy penalties in my opinion. There's a decision we can contest, but I think the precedent is far better now than it used to be without VAR. That's just my opinion. So that's what makes Bruno Fernandes that much more attractive, is the fact that his involvement in United's goals and forward play generally revolves around him and his kind of tactics and his ability to put the ball in the right area and score when he gets the opportunity. At number 4, it's the man himself, Mo Salah. Now, Mo Salah already is owned by nearly 52% of FPL managers. Again, as I said, he's a must-own in my opinion, and obviously these players believe the same thing, and these managers who are playing this game believe the same thing. Going through the fixtures again, he's playing 3 of the 8 promoted clubs in the first 8 game weeks, so he's probably going to be a high captaincy choice as well. So get him in early before the price rises, and don't want to get too far behind other managers who probably will take the benefits of his great start. In terms of fixtures, last 3 seasons, actually 4 seasons, he's finished above 200 points. At 12.5, he's the most expensive player in the game along with Harry Kane, but he's definitely worth it. Every campaign he's got more than 10 goals. 19 goals is his least, which was 2 seasons ago. And he gets assists as well. So we can't really avoid him, can't miss him out. Pretty much plays every single minute for Jurgen Klopp. He's a fighter. Yes, he's frustrating. Yes, he'll miss chances. Yes, he'll probably be a bit more greedy and ambitious in terms of some shots he takes, and he thinks that he can swear it and he could have more assists. Maybe that's something he'll work on. Maybe that's something that he'll look to improve this season. But generally, from an FPL perspective, Mo Salah nailed on to be in squads. He's a must-own, pretty much captaincy favourite for most game weeks, barring if you have another player who's you think will have a better fixture for that game week itself, unless it's a double game week or so. But generally, Mo Salah is not only a must-own player for me, but he's a pretty much nailed-on captaincy choice as well. And last not least, but number 5, the main man himself, the captain of England, the captain of Spain, Spurs as we speak, Who knows? He may be at Manchester City by the start of game week 1. But it's going to be Harry Kane. Now, he is the joint most expensive player in this game at the start of the season at 12.5 mil. For me, is that a fair price? I think it is. He's the most expensive forward. He's the best forward in the league, and there's a reason why he's priced the highest. He's owned by around 25% of managers already. So again, people are favouring him. So a lot of drafts I've seen are either being 2 premiums people are focusing on. So it could be like Bruno Salah, Bruno Kane, Salah Kane, Bruno Kane, De Bruyne Kane, Mane Kane. It can be vice versa. So there's a lot of drafts that people are going for 2 out of the 3, or maybe some have gone for 3 and lost budget on other players in their squads. But in terms of Harry Kane, look at those stats; they speak for themselves. Always there or thereabouts the 20 goal mark. Last season got his highest assists at 14. Will he have that same impact at Man City? I think he will if he does move. He's a hard worker. He plays week in, week out, and I shouldn't really say this. There is a point in the season where he does get injured, but last season he did very well. You can look at it from his minutes played. He only missed around 2 or 3 games in max, and considering he damaged both his ankles in that Liverpool game in December, he literally came back 2 game weeks after. So he's really hungry to play games. He's there to score. He's there to set up goals last season. His partnership with Son was unbelievable. Just imagine all those players at Man City, someone like a Bernardo Silva, Kevin De Bruyne, Raheem Sterling, Riyad Mahrez, Phil Foden, Jack Grealish if he decides to go as well. He's got riches of talent on there, and those stats can only improve. No disrespect to any of the Spurs players or the way they play. I generally believe in a model like Man City and a team with their players and their calibre. There's definitely worth looking out for him. I haven't got him in my draft as we speak yet, but if he does go to Man City, I am certainly going to be looking into bringing him in, because it'll basically it'll be literally I won't be able to sleep. I won't be able to see my draft without him if he's at Man City. It's just definitely, or my team without him. It's just going to be on edge all the time. And Man City do score goals, and they're looking for a striker. So who better than Harry Kane himself? So these are the 5 players, guys, that I believe are the must-own players in FPL right now. So you should definitely be considering most of them, if not pretty much all of them, if you can fit them into your squad. And that's why I thought I'd make this video, to kind of simplify and tell you what my thought process is and which players I'm focusing on at the moment. So in my draft, you can see at the moment I don't have every single player of the player that I've listed in these 5 due to budget constraints, and I'm still trying to work out with further transfers how I can make this possible. So this is my video for the most kind of popular choices or must-own players for me. Let me know what your thoughts are. Are there any players that you agree with on here? Are there any players that you think I've missed out? Let me know. Contact me. Leave me some comments here. You can contact me on my social media, which is listed below. You can also join the FPL Inkling League if you haven't already. Put that code in, join the family, let's have a great league, and let me help you get to the number, or I shouldn't say any number, let me get you to your best ranking possible in the FPL game itself. If you haven't hit the subscribe button by the end of this video, now's your chance. Hit that lovely button, subscribe to this channel, hit that like button if you've liked this content, and also hit that notification icon for latest notifications for my content when it is released. It's been an absolute pleasure. My name is Mo, and I look forward to seeing you in my next video.